Namaste. So we saw whatever we have been experiencing through the senses, also something written on scriptures like heaven and other things. We have to have the dispassion of all these things. So then we explored why we have to have. What is the connection, related relationship with the life? From there, now he is extending further dispassion, detachment, renunciation to the next sutra, the other level, though they are saying as a higher level of vairagya. Let's explore, let's see that. The next sutra. Tat param purushakyadehe guna vaitrushnyam. The pronunciation, to get the exact pronunciation, we are not really focusing on that. So now you just listen, let us focus mainly the meaning. Tat param purushakyadehe guna vaitrushnyam. Tat means that. Means here he is talking about vairagya. Tat param, higher level. Higher level of vairagya. What is that? Purushakyadehe. Purushakyadehe. This word, Purusha, if we start to explore that, we will go to really many sessions, long discussions. Let us try to understand a little bit of that. Because here he says, Kyadehe means the knowledge, the discernment of Purusha. For Purusha, you might have read or heard, pure consciousness is a translation given. Let us understand only as Purusha. We will discuss about it. Guna Vaitrushnyam. Guna, you know already. We really discussed at the beginning, number of sessions on that. The qualities, attributes. Satvik, Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Vaitrushnyam means desirelessness, no more craving for that. Or a state seems everything new word looks like, is it? Tat param purushakyadehe navaitrushnyam. By knowing the self, you will attain the state of not desiring for any kind of gunas. If we loosely translate, understand that. Guna we have seen. Later we will little bit explore on that. But let us understand yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Right? This we keep hearing, you know that what is yoga. After that, we saw the next one, next sutta we study. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. What happens because of chitta vritti nirodha? When chitta vritti nirodha happens, the seer is abiding on his own self. Right? That's what we understood. We didn't go into details of that. According to yoga philosophy, everything we can separate into two things: Purusha, Prakriti. What is Prakriti? Everything, all the matter. When we study Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, we can see that we can attribute whatever we see, we experience, we don't see, whatever the universe, the nature of the universe, sun, moon, black hole, dark energy, galaxies, human beings, our mind, our whatever related with that emotions, everything we can bring within these three: sattva, rajas, tamas. That is the prakriti, the nature. This is one part. What is the other part is purusha. If we translate as consciousness or pure consciousness, it may not reflect the exact meaning because our understanding of consciousness is different, right? I'm consciously listening to you. That's why they add this word, pure consciousness. Now, experientially, what we know, what is our experience on that? On that so-called pure consciousness or Purusha. So we have to go back to the second sutra. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Cessation of the modifications on the mind. This mind stuff, whatever the vrittis that keep changing, modifying one after the other, it has to be stopped. It has to go into the state of stillness. If we are able to do, what happens? Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Without this thought process, the seer, the individual person, that entity abiding in his own self. This is our fundamental confusion. Even for the practitioners, long-term practitioners, those who are studying occasionally, and also religion-wise, we have certain beliefs. All put together, when we observe this or when we want to know about it, it will bring certain confusion. Why? Because it is not, we can't, even though we experience, but we can't distinguish, we can't separate the experience. Is it about the mind or about something else? The so-called self. I am hearing, tasting, smelling, seeing, feeling the sensation. So through these senses, I receive the information and my mind is processing based on that thought process, thinking. Also, we see what are the other formats, other ways these vrittis are happening, this thought process are happening. Pramana, viparyaya, vikalpa, nidra, smriti, by memory, by this right knowledge, wrong knowledge, imagination, fanciful thoughts. All these ways, these thoughts are happening, going on all the time. During the waking state, during the sleeping state, through dreams. Now, deep sleep also, Patanjali says, a form of vritti, because you are able to recognize after you get up. So it is, the vrittis are there underneath. So our experience is, I am thinking, I am seeing, I am hearing, I feel the pain, I am happy, I am enjoying, I don't enjoy, I understand, I don't understand. Throughout our life, our experiences with the mind, that's what we see that. That's what we are able to recognize that. But here Patanjali says, Tada drashtuhu swarupe avastha. We can't simply conceive that idea, recognize that idea. Then we are saying, okay, furthermore, awareness. When we say awareness, so far we don't see that experience is something out of my mind. Even I do meditation, no thought process. I aware that awareness is there. I aware that I am there. Maybe the space and time disappears, but still I know I am there. I am aware that I am there, which also seems part of mind, isn't it? Which also seems it is happening within that field of mind. That's why when we use the word consciousness, pure consciousness, whether you say impure consciousness or pure consciousness, with that word to recognize that, it may add the confusion or it may maintain that confusion. To distinguish, to separate, let us use this word, Purusha, for that tada drashtu swarupe avasthana, in the person, the seer, abiding in his own self. Even though you may heard a self-realization, salvation, knowledge of one's own self, It's all we heard and we believe, but as of now, our experience is nothing beyond the mind. In Buddhism, they don't use this whole concept of self. So we don't assume or we don't just believe. For now, let us understand this way. As per yoga, these two things separate Purusha and Prakriti. What Patanjali says, by knowing the Purusha, by having the clarity or discernment of Purusha, then you don't get any desire of this Prakriti. Means all the three gunas, right? This guna means whole Prakriti. There is nothing in this world is going to give the attraction to you. So now, how we will know this Purusha? What happens afterwards, we'll leave it as. How do we know? How do we distinguish? That's the whole yoga, isn't it? If we know by this class, tomorrow, okay, morning you sit, you can know the Purusha this way, it'll be nice. But if it is happening that way, there is no confusion. Because of that quality, that nature of Purusha is such that our current experience is not able to distinguish or see that easily. One of the meditation session, also one of the session here, philosophy session also, when we were discussing about dream, I see my body, I am aware of my body. So we separate, body is different, the person, me, seeing the body is different, aware of the body is different. Same way with the breath also, I am aware of the breath, something different. Me, the person having the awareness of the breath is different. Same way, various thought process, emotions, moods, anything happening, memory, intelligence, whatever happening in the field of mind, I am able to observe that, see that separate. Thoughts happening, as a person, able to aware of those thoughts during dream time, sleeping time, during the dream time. The dream is happening as though I'm watching a movie on the screen. The whole dream happening. I don't know I or something, but the dream happening separately. The person having the awareness is the separate person. Are you with me? You are not in any dream now, right? That's why I also saying that even you can see your own body in the dream, like you are seeing your body in the mirror. In the waking state, we can't really see the whole body, even though we are in the body. But in the mirror, we are able to see, recognize, take a photo, video, we are able to see. The same way during the dream. My body doing various things, but I see as though I'm watching a movie, a video. It's all fine. If you're able to see that, this difference. Now, who is this observing person? Who is this person who has the awareness of the body, the breath, the thought process, this whole thing related with, even in the dream? Who is this observing person? Who is this person aware of all the time? You don't need to agree with me or Patanjali or anybody, but just for the sake of understanding, you take this person who has this awareness of all the time is Purusha. We don't know the nature of Purusha. What kind of quality has the Purusha? What is this awareness can do? Is it only my awareness or your awareness? Or is it more than this awareness? What is the link between this awareness and other things? We don't know. In order to find the answer, know the answer, let us just understand this, or let us just like take it. What we have to do, we just like we are finding a solution, we put the answer is X. Then from there we will derive, get the answer. Then x is equal to. Same way, now we equate, we take this awareness as Purusha. We may misunderstand when we use the word awareness also, because the awareness is happening in the mind field. You are aware that I am talking, you are aware that you are hearing. So our experience is this awareness is also part of mind or our understanding so far. But let us keep that as a separate. The person who is aware of the body, aware of the breath, aware of the thought process, aware of the emotions, aware of this whole thing all the time is the Purusha. What actually we are doing by this abhyasa, by this vairagya, by the yoga practice, we want to know the nature of Purusha and what is the quality of Purusha and what is the relationship of Purusha with this mind and all the things. Why? That's where our misunderstanding or our problem is there. I recognize myself as a limited person, as a limited being. I have this body, I have this mind, I have these emotions, I have these desires. Is me. So I take birth so and so time. I am living in this way and I have these likes and dislikes, and this is my end of life. Death will come. So our understanding of this I is this birth and death in between what is that to the body, to this mind. We strongly believe, not only strongly believe, that is our experience so far. When my emotions are happening, I feel the joy, I feel the sadness. When I get something, when I don't get something. So I'm living, there is a pain in my body, I'm feeling it. I do this asana, I get this light feeling, feeling good after that stretch. So I experience it. So all these things is giving this conclusion that I am so and so person with this body and mind. Here, yoga says you are not this limited being, you are Purusha. That's what you need to know. The whole yoga practice is for that. Tata drashtu swarupe avasthanam. By chitta vritti nirodha. It is, as of now, it is totally opposite of our experience. That's why people don't show much interest beyond asana practice. Why? The problem is the pain of the body. I do the asana, my pain goes. Good enough. My mind is already have this enjoyment of life. I have friends, family members, place to stay. I have things to do. So we lead the life this way. Now, when yoga comes and says, you are wrong, you are doing things which is not going to solve the problem. Generally, people don't see us as a problem. What's the problem? I'm working. I know how to do things, how to achieve what I want. Maybe a few times I failure to achieve that. But with that I learn, I overcome, I get it. So looking into the nature of mind, understand the difference, then you go for pranayama meditation. It is not everybody's interest. Why? That is not really giving any solution my problem. Why? What is my problem? I have to be respected by others. I do pranayama, that is not bringing the respect. I have to take care of my family. I do pranayama, that is not bringing that care. I have to pay my bills. Pranayama is not giving anything to pay my bills. They are saying it brings health, calmness, peace of mind. People say it's okay, I can get it from many ways. I listen this music, my mind will go in. peace. I play with my pet or my children, any kind of problem, I will calm down, cool down. So if the people's interest to solve their day-to-day issues, when they approach, only the yoga gives very limited solution for that. Only for that purpose, people are interested to do. But here in yoga, it is talking about a solution which will eternal, which is eternal, which will not allow you to look for any search further. This sutra has that's a direct meaning for that. What it says, by knowing the Purusha, you don't get any kind of desire into this guna. Means what? What is guna? Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. What is really happening with that? We overcome from tamas, rajasic nature. Then the mind looking for knowledge, seeking some information even through meditation, sattvic nature, sattvic mind. But when you are seeing the self, knowing the self, when you are having that knowledge of Purusha, there is no interest in any of these things, including knowledge. You don't want to understand what Patanjali says afterwards because you know already what is Purusha. You will not even have this interest. I have to know what this scripture saying, what that master saying, that craving. You need to see the difference. It is not that strong desire, craving. Sattvic state, I am saying. Because the previous one, Drishta Anushravika Vishaya, that already helps to overcome the tamasic, rajasic related mindset. That brings certain dispassion, right? That brings certain detachment of all the worldly interest. Then when you are going into a state of meditation, state of samadhi, that's where then the main pursuit, knowing what it is, what Patanjali says, what Buddha says, what Jesus Christ says. But when you get the awareness, when you get the knowledge of Purusha, you don't have even this interest, this desire that you have to achieve this. That's why they say Tat Param, this is the higher Vairagya, high state of Vairagya. So this whole process is knowing what is my reality. I use this word, right? I. Who is this so-called I? Patanjali says Purusha, but we don't know. So what we know from there, with the practice, with this inquiry, gradually, we are clearing the doubts, and our experience will reveal, will make us to know the differences, how the body is different, how the mind is different. Within the mind, then this so-called observing person or awareness or pure consciousness. What is the reality of that? What is the nature of that? Even if we see this separation, I'm able to see the body different, I'm able to see the breath different, mind different. I am this person who is aware of all these things. Still, we don't know what is the quality or nature of this awareing person, the person who is aware of all these things. That's why this practice, this discussion, this inquiry, that will clear the doubts, confusion, and also our clarity about this, what is Prakriti, what is this Purusha, and how it is associated with that. Tat param Purushakyadehe guna vaidrushnyam. Who am I? This question actually will lead to that question. This sutra will lead to that question. Who am I? Or who is Purusha? It's the same. Who is this pure consciousness? Or who is self? If you say in Buddhism way, shunyata, who is realizing this shunyata? What is the nature of that? I don't know how many of you really interested in this, but when we go further, now after this, is going to talk about, explore about various state of samadhi. He said, like, what is yoga? Cessation of thought process. The Vritaya Panchataya, fivefold. Then what kind of that? What are those five types of vrittis? And he said, like, what's happening? How to get rid of or get into that stillness? Then you need to have this quality, abhyasa and vairagya. What kind of abhyasa and what kind of vairagya? Okay, now you are doing abhyasa vairagya. After that, what happens? With that, you are reaching the state of samadhi. What kind of samadhi? And in this way, after that only the second chapter, it talks about how to practice, how to do abhyasa. That's what whole second chapter is all about. He is already in the first chapter explaining about what happens. Second chapter, how you have to make it happen. We all have the interest to know ourselves. We are all looking for our source, our root. But our education is such that keep on making us to see externally. What is my root? Where is my source? What is my reality? Except human being, other beings, the capacity is limited to continue that search. But human beings have this capacity to complete the search. But because we have been taught, we have been educated, and our lifestyle becoming to that way, we have been constantly looking outward. We get stuck by that actually. Now, to know that reality, to know the source, the root, we have to go inward. And this is that process. That's why it's very clearly explained. If you are interested in external things, drishta vishaya, you enjoy the movie, you enjoy the food, you like to travel, it's nice to read book, it's nice to meet friends, it's nice to spend time with family members, it's nice to do something new, being creative, invent things, plan to go to Mars. It's all drishta vishaya. If we have strong desire on these activities, because it's all external activities, we want to have a good name in our office place, we want to build an empire, varieties of things. So if our interest is there, our strong connection is on these external activities, it will never allow you to get into the state of chitta vritti. That's why his sutra, the sutra here, telling it clearly, you have to have vairagya on these external activities. That craving need to disappear. That's not enough. That give the stage or the foundation to know the Purusha. Purusha Kyade. One more reason why it is mentioned as a higher vairagya, Tat Param. Until we know about our reality, or until we know what is the nature of Purusha or who is Purusha, even though we practice, even you may go to even mountains to do this practice, but still we have the seeds of these gunas. That, we saw that already, right? That samskara, that impressions which we are holding on, any time will change your attention or your direction. It will not allow you to know the reality. So we really get away from this external interest only when we know what is our identity or what is the nature of Purusha, who is Purusha. In fact, the whole, the subject of Vedanta, I don't know whether you all know or heard about it, by separating, like, all these various things related with everybody's life, step by step, giving the explanation, making us to know that ultimate reality. Then it rejects all other realities. Rejects in the sense, making us to see that it is not real. Apparently it looks real, but it is very momentary real. That's where we get the clarity. How we know what, after knowing the Purusha, how we get that Vairagya, how we are not able to get, we will not be disturbed by the guna, because it is totally giving a different perception of ourselves. How we see ourselves until then is different. After knowing the nature of Purusha, how we perceive ourselves will be different. Even they say, just at 1 second, all our problems solved. When that knowledge happens. But we have a lot of imagination about it, which we will see, which we will, as we study one after the other, we will we will clear all these imaginations or misunderstandings. We'll continue. One question. Mind which is pulled in all direction, which creates the modification, is it part of Prakriti? Also, once you have the glimpse of Purusha, the understanding of Prakriti merges into Purusha, and there is no more division, or division disappears. Is this understanding theory or an experience? Okay. Mind which is pulled in all direction, which creates the modification, is it part of Prakriti? It's not part of Prakriti. That is Prakriti. Our body, Prakriti. Our mind, Prakriti. Other members, other people, Prakriti. The house, Prakriti. Trees, other things, Prakriti. That means the whole earth, Prakriti. Other planets, Prakriti. Solar family, Prakriti. Milky Way galaxy, Prakriti. Other galaxies, Prakriti. Space, Prakriti. Black hole, Prakriti. Dark matter, dark energy, Prakriti. Everything Prakriti. So we put it this way, nature. One translation given for that. Nature. When we say nature, everything is nature, right? The Prakriti. This within the mind, that thought process, impressions. We talk about samskaras, right? Impressions, memory, intelligence, all Prakriti. That Prakriti into three ways: Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. We can, anything, it's a combination of these three. Any Prakriti we can derive through this combination of these three qualities. Okay. Now, also once you have the glimpse of Purusha, the understanding of Prakriti merges into Purusha, and there is no more division, or division disappears. Is this an understanding, theory, or an experience? Now, the question comes, what is the so-called experience of Purusha, or glimpse of Purusha? In other words, knowing one's nature, reality, knowing which it is not the division disappears. Division is there, but the way you perceive the division changes. Our understanding of ourselves is, I'm a limited person, limited being. I take birth and I die sometime. We don't know, but die. There is a time, it's there for that. And I'm a limited being here doing things. And I want to do this, I want to do that. I have this disappointment, frustration, anger, all these things associated with me. And my happiness and sadness is keep on changing. Though I want to be happy all the time, but it is not under my control because I am so and so limited being. This is our understanding. That's how we see ourselves. That is our perception. That's why when we see other person, we see this person is great. This person is ordinary. This person is good person. This is bad. All these divisions are there. That's how we perceive. But knowing the Purusha will not eradicate the divisions. Why? Remember, the mind functions in the platform of duality, dual nature. I have to recognize myself as a being, yourself as a being. That's why the communication starts. It's a division, right? Duality itself a division. So that is there all the time. It is not merging, because a lot of translation done this way or explanation done this way, that individual self is getting union with the universal self. It is not any kind of merging that way. No. Also, tada drashtuhu surupe avasthanam means when there is no mind, only the Purusha. It is to get the reality or knowing the reality, like we get away from that, like we get away when we get up from the sleep, we realize that I had a good sleep. That way, tada drashtu surupe avasthanam. When it is your own self, in your abiding in your own place, and you come away, that's where the division comes. You realize, you see that. So the realization is not for Purusha. The realization is for the mind, the ignorant mind, not knowing the reality of one's own self. So after that, the perception changes. Then you don't see yourself a limited person, limited being. You don't just relate with your body mind. The whole perception will be diametrically opposite. So it is not merging, it is just revealing the reality. Is it theory? Is it just understanding, or some kind of experience need to take place? Definitely it is understanding, but it is happening through the experience. If it is just purely understanding, you read the book, you can understand definitely, but you may find difficulty to bring that practice or bring that into your experience, whatever you are understanding. But when you are able to bring slowly that experience, it may be just happening immediately, or it may have take some time, whatever it may be. And from there, still we need to understand. What we understand how to relate, how to see the world, or how to perceive the world. That's where the differences of opinion coming there. How Buddha perceived, how Patanjali perceived, how Jesus Christ perceived, how Muhammad perceived, all the so-called great masters. Their perception based on the explanation differs. But realizing Purusha should be the same. If it is a different experience, it cannot be true. Right? That's the way we can interpret. If Purusha can be revealed only if you give up Prakriti, it seems difficult or even not practical. However, if the pursue it to have non-attachment to the mind, it makes more sense. Does this make sense? I'm confused. If Purusha can be revealed only if you give up Prakriti, it seems difficult or even not practical. Who says it's difficult? The mind enjoying the Prakriti is saying. Who's saying it is not practical? The mind which is already have its own zone, own boundary with the Prakriti. Why? Because the mind already strongly believes, strongly experience daily experiencing, this is the way to live. Or the mind says, this is life. Abhyasa will take care of it. Constant inquiry, constant practice. Dirgha kala, nairantarya. That will take care. Uninterrupted practice. In fact, it is so simple and easy to deal with Purusha than Prakriti. It is dead simple. But because of our connection with the Prakriti, our belief of Prakriti, we see it is complicated or not practical. To know the Purusha, it is not, you have to climb Mount Everest, you have to work 24 hours, you have to go here and there. No. Requirement of Purusha is very, very simple, just to be there, that's all. Whatever you are, wherever you are, whatever the condition, just be there. You remember the acceptance, right? Acceptance and non-acceptance. It is just like our connection of our daily life, emotions, all those things. Just a little bit flipping other side. I'm happy myself, whatever I am. I am accepting whatever happening now. 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 Every now. Anything. It may be anything. But I am accepting